Hey YouTube, Maddys Daddy 12 with
Dizztdourden5623.
Team JMT. Going to give you guys a quick little rundown of how we think the ban list could or could not go. We've talked about this a couple times, and we really feel that it could go a couple different ways, pretty well based around this card. Depending on how they manage that card is going to depend on how we feel the ban list could go. Been a lot of talk about that coming back. If that was to come back off the ban list to one, Cold Wave and True Nade are two cards that could possibly be hit. Cold Wave being banned along with Giant True Nade, I feel bringing that back in a combination of that would be okay. You have no way of preparing for Cold Wave once it's been played. You have no way of building back or preparing for the next turn. I kind of feel the same way about Giant True Nade. I feel like I have less answers to Giant True Nade than I do to Heavy Storm. Driz.
Well, the common theme for me is going to be health of the game, as his is going to be pack sales.
Yes.
But I feel like the overall health of the game, you leave these two out, and you keep the card that's a negative back row clear. It's a -1 technically. It doesn't really net you anything, that's kind of how the format is right now, is plus and minuses, which is the kind of format I like, and not the, hey, I'm going to OTK you stuff. But at the same time, if they were to get rid of both of these and, leave this, I mean, it's not terrible because we do have Starlight Road, and if Dark Hole was to stay in that same time, then we have two Starlight Road targets.
And like he said, with Starlight Road, with it being printed as a silver stamp in the recent Duelist pack, is another reason why that could promote more pack sales. Now, this is a point that you made with the pot of Duality.
I just feel like if you hit Cold Wave off of Duality, it's not going to be the same as if Heavy Storm is legal and you hit Heavy Storm off of Duality. Because once you hit this off of Duality, you can't even play it. But Heavy Storm, you can. So I feel like it's at 3 right now. I could actually see it going to 2, possibly even 1, depending on Heavy Storm.
Alright, and once again, guys, depending on how they manage this card, or a combination of these 3 cards, is going to depend on how the rest of this plays out. Next, we'll talk about Monster Reborn. This is a card that we both feel could possibly be banned. I agree with Driz on this, on his reasoning.
It should be banned. We don't have very many answers to it, more or less. The main thing we have is Solemn Warning, and if you're just sitting on your warning for one card that they may or not have, that's not how you're supposed to be playing. You're supposed to be playing your cards for what they have, and you can't keep just anticipating this and waiting on it. And like I said, Solemn Warning, the main counter, you can possibly DD Crow, possibly Bottomless, but those are just maybe cards. So yeah, I just don't feel like it should be legal.
Yeah, if they hit your monster, then you can't DD Crow. If they hit a smaller monster, then you can't Bottomless Trap Hole. I agree with him, because if you're setting on your Solemn Warning to hit this card, and you do hit it, they've still got their normal summon that they could hit you with that could possibly be just as devastating. Next, we want to talk about Gorz. The biggest reason I feel like this card is going to be banned is because of pack sales. In this upcoming pack, Storm of Rag, we have a trap card coming out. It was Golden Apples in the TCG. I believe it's going to be Fig of Apple in the OCG.
Fig and OCG, so
okay.
Golden Apples TCG.
So what it does is you take damage when you control no monsters. When you take damage, you activate it, you gain the damage, or you gain it back, and then you summon a token equal to the damage that you took. Which is basically what Gorz does for you. However, Gorz is an instant +1 when it gains you the token.
As well as a 2700 body that's special summoned in the damage step.
Yes, that you can do very little to stop. Next, Dark Hole. Should this be banned?
Well, like I was saying, with the Heavy Storm, they bring that back. We still have Starlight Road. Starlight Road still an answer to this, but it's not played as much because, unlike your spells and traps, your monsters, they aren't as important like just staying on board. Like usually you're going to use a monster, it's pretty much expendable after it's lived for a turn, more or less. And you can just play around Dark Hole. I mean, you know your opponent has Dark Hole. Just don't overcommit to the board, and you'll probably be fine.
Yeah, I completely agree. Of course, I play a lot of stuns, so I normally won't commit a lot to the board. So Dark Hole has really not hurt me much this format, as much as I thought it was going to when I heard it was coming back. Next, we're going to talk about some cards that we could possibly see limited, doing some moving around on the limited list. Debris Dragon is a card that we could see possibly going to 1 or 2. I personally think it needs to go to 1. If it does go to 1, it promotes the play of Quick Draw, which of course sells more packs of the YuGiOh Duelist pack. And that's just immediate answers there, but I really feel like it's being splashed in just so much stuff.
I just feel like they could put Dandelion back to 1, but this card is, I mean, it's still insanely good at 3 if they put Dandelion still to 1, because it's just, you summon it and you Black Rose.
Yeah, you get Black Rose. And spamming of Black Rose has been a real big problem in this, because I feel like you can put, and we've seen it happen at our locals. People have borrowed my deck and other Plant Synchro decks, and our players that don't normally do well, and they just they top deck Debris Dragon, summon Black Rose, and they're good players all of a sudden. I really feel if this stays at 3, I really feel if it stays at 2 or more, Black Rose needs to go back to 1.
Because, it just, right now, it's summon Black Rose no matter what your opponent's board looks like. If it goes back to 1, your opponent might have Bottomless, and you might lose your only copy of Black Rose.
Yeah, it makes it more, I don't know. Thoughtful. Yes, that's probably the best route. Okay, next, one of the most popular topics when it comes to ban list discussion, Six Sams. Now, this is something me and him disagree on. You want to start this one?
I just feel like they have a lot of search power already. They have Rhoda, not to mention they have draw power and United. They have a ton of special summon ability. I think it's overkill to leave this card at anything other than 1, because they just have so much already. Why give them, the pluses that this thing generates over and over and over again? And why let Samurais have a board of 3 or 4 monsters and still have, 2 to 3 back row as well as like 5 cards in hand? That's just stupid.
And see, I disagree with that. And once again, it comes back to pack sales. I really feel that leaving this or taking this to 2 and taking a combination of like Grandmaster or Six Sam United still promotes the play of Six Sams, which of course will sell more packs of the new set. Another point that I'd like to make is how long did we keep Black Whirlwind? We kept it at 3 for a while. They tried taking Gale to 1 before they ever touched Whirlwind. Then they tried taking Whirlwind to 2, and it was still a problem. That's why I almost feel that they could take this to 2 along with United before they actually take it to 1. Next, not that much thought we have to put into this one. Faultroll.
I hate X-Sabers.
That's pretty much the gist. You take this to 2 and you slow down their OTK ability, and you just make the deck a little less playable. Well, the deck is still just as playable. I really feel if you take this to 2, it just makes it a lot more healthy.
I just feel like it's stupid that, you can already search the card anyway.
Yeah.
Why leave it at 3?
Next, another point that we kind of disagree on. Royal Tribute. Driz feels that it needs to go to 1. I honestly think they could leave this card at 2. If they were to leave it at 2, and a combination of taking this to 2, or possibly Spy to 2, and that slows the deck down enough to where the deck is still playable, it's still competitive, it still wins, but just not as fast.
Like, the only problem I have that's an exclusive, that Spy is not necessarily a problem. The real thing is getting Descendant, tributing off him to pay the cost for it. And I feel like the overall health, Royal Tribute at 1 is just better because you can't auto-lose like you can now if you draw bad.
And I agree with him. You open 4 monsters and a first turn roll tribute just wrecks your face. I also see his point about the recruiter. They have yet to touch a TCG exclusive. I mean, we all dumped off our Dark Souls at the end of the last format just because we were expecting Dark Soul to go to 1 or 2, and which never happened. And Barrier was the same point. I mean, it was a TCG exclusive that everybody talked about it getting hit, and it never did. Next, just out of they've done so much. I touched on this just a second ago. They've done so much periodically to just try to cripple Blackwings. I really see this as the next step.
Yeah, it's doing well in the OCG. It's doing well in the TCG. It's probably going to happen. It's kind of stupid, in my opinion. I think Blackwings are just Blackwings. They're always going to be there. And people keep trying, and they succeed in finding new ways to play them.
So 1 or 2?
I think 2 before they go all the way to 1. But they might end up going to 1 eventually.
Alright, next, just out of pure popularity, Ryko and Book of Moon are getting so much play right now. This is a point that you brought up.
The main thing they did with Bottomless Trap Hole, people were playing 3 of them, just playing 3. And that's what people are doing with Book of Moon right now. It's just so disruptive. It's good pretty much against everything. So I could see that going back to 2. And not too long ago, we only had 1 of this. Riku kind of the same way, but it's kind of iffy to whether they want to do anything with that.
Alright, next is a deck that we think could get touched, but I just don't feel that it's been quite popular enough in order to really get touched. And to be honest with you, I've not played it enough to really know what would be the problem cards for them to touch.
I played 1 at locals, but there's really... I feel like if they get rid of one of the back row master removal cards and leave us with just Heavy or just Trinade or, like that, it's not as big of a problem. But other than that, something probably should be hit, but it just hasn't seen enough play to really warrant it, I don't think.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. I feel something could happen. I just don't really know what it could be. Next, we're going to talk about some cards that we feel could make a comeback. I really feel like Destiny Draw could see some more, could go to 2. And would still be healthy. I understand Absolute Zero uses it, and that could become a problem deck if that goes to 2. I really feel like this goes to 1 because of the DHZ, the Destiny Hero Zombies. And with Burial, if it stays at 1 and Mizuki stays at 1, I feel like they can bring that to 2. That deck becomes playable again, and it's not a problem.
I just feel like it was kind of too much. I feel like this at 2, Allure at 1, it helps Absolute Zero, it helps maybe Destiny Hero Zombies. That's probably fine.
Alright, next we want to talk about Lightsworn. Lumina and Necro Gardna. Now we kind of disagree on this too. I really feel that should come back to 2, but I kind of feel that's okay at 1.
I just feel like definitely if this comes back and that comes back, probably just if this Judgment should go to 1.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They'll never ban Judgment Dragon probably because they haven't banned Dark Arm. Dark Arm's overpowered. It's just the way it is. They like power cards. But I really like this guy mostly just because it's a different mechanic that, we don't see very often stuff. You have to worry about him during your battle phase. And they nuked Lightsworn all at once. So, give them Lumina back at 2.
Alright, last, we're going to talk about a card that could come back from the ban list completely. Tribe Infecting Virus. This is a card that I almost want to say is almost needed with Black Wings being all Wing Beast. 6 Sams.
I feel like the main problem is Konami's going to keep churning out archetypes in our faces, which I despise.
Yes.
And this will help kill their archetypes that they keep trying to throw in our face. So, if anything, this can't be back with Dark Hole.
Yes, that's a point that I wanted to make, was that if we have, like the point that I made with Monster Reborn, it's hard to prepare for Monster Reborn with when you're trying to counter with Solemn Warning, and then they'll still have their normal summon. It's hard to prepare for Dark Hole, and then me still drop Tribe Infecting Virus and blow up your field anyway.
Yep.
So there you go, guys. There's our ban list discussion. Comment down below. Make sure you subscribe. Show us how much you love us.
Drizz out.